I've always puzzled by costs of solar around the world. Germany has historically been cheaper than the US. And then recently, there's been a lot of people saying that the costs in Australia are 60 cents a kilowatt hour
Right.
for solar and, the $1.10 or so for batteries. And I'm just kind of running the numbers of even if I got the equipment direct from China and had no hassles in the US, it would still be a lot more.
Right.
But I'm just wondering why it was so cheap. It just so happens that I didn't go to kind of design my winter vacation around going to
Nice.
Australia,
Yeah.
Sydney, and then hung out in New Zealand after that. But really, just to try and understand what we could possibly do here in the U.S. to bring those costs down. And typically we hear about the issue being soft costs.
Yeah.
It's basically not the hardware, but it's all the labor, all those permitting and things like that. And I look at the numbers from my company and say, even if I were to wipe those out, I'm still not getting down to 60 cents
That's
a
right.
kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make. So I dug into it. And what I found, and by meeting with solars in Australia and spend a lot of time there, diving into it, the real costs of solar in Australia before tariffs, $2.04.
Okay.
That's with a battery.
With a battery.
$2.04 with a battery.
Okay, so in Australia, we're at $2 a watt.
Right.
All right.
And in the US, typically it's about $5.50 a watt for a decent system with a battery. Huge difference. Why is that difference? So I'm starting to drill down and looking at those individual categories, the module, the batteries, the tariffs, the labor, the supply chain, the profits, all that. And this chart over here kind of shows those specific differences category by category.
Yeah.
And then I say, all right, well, what can we fix?
Yeah.
So first of all, I looked at solar and a battery. And then since everybody's always talking about just solar, when I looked at the numbers in Australia, it's 82 cents a watt for just solar. That's pretty terrific.
Yeah, of course.
Now they have a 15 cent a watt incentive, which is nice, but still, we're at 330. We're at 330.
Yeah. That's incredible.
And so why? When I looked at it, I realized there's a lot we can do locally. There's a lot we can do statewide, but the biggest drivers of these high costs are U.S. federal policies.
No way.
Go figure. It's go federal policy. So it's the manufacturing policies. Aluminum extrusions for frames of solar panels. First, we have to pay U.S. rates for aluminum. We don't smelt a lot of aluminum here. The machining is expensive. The transportation is expensive. So that's a big one, manufacturing.
Right.
We don't really have any fully automated lines right now for silicon and cells and everything else, although we have assembly plants. So that's one. The second is regulations.
Yeah.
We have safety regulations. Australia has them. They're comparable, but our labor costs are higher. The tax, finance, and business policies.
Wait, the regulations are comparable, but we're 5 times more expensive.
They have regulations
three
there,
times more,
but it's still, when you look at the numbers, and they're still higher. The business policies are higher, and this is kind of interesting. When you look at how we have tax credits.
Yeah. And again, 3x.
It's 3x. And then finally, the direct tariffs and duties. So you look at it in Australia, they get good but very inexpensive racking directly from Shanghai.
Yeah.
The modules come directly from Shanghai, and it's a pretty good product. Battery systems are also very,
Is there,
very expensive.
as a result, no domestic racking in Australia?
No, I don't think there's a domestic anything in Australia.
Well, is that I guess that's gonna be the corollary. Is that the market that we want to incentivize? But carry on.
So well, we have to figure out what we're trying to solve, right? There's two problems we want to solve.
Sure.
Do we want to solve
Australia is arguably much closer to Shanghai, so
it's closer. Do we want cheap energy, or do we want to create jobs in solar and manufacturing?
I thought it was yes and.
Well, my view is let's fill the installation queue. Let's get those construction people to work. That's going to automatically drive in demand,
and it increases the quality of jobs.
They're good jobs.
Yes.
When we look at these high manufacturing costs and our manufacturing policy, every 4 years we have a different president, and they change the policies. I mean, it's Bush 1, Bush 2, Obama, Trump. It's just a mess. So we just don't have steadiness. And if we were to put steadiness as far as putting those solar manufacturing policies in place, we would have factories making refined silicon, ingots, modules, the whole thing. But it just keeps changing. And it's even worse for batteries. We're going into the same cookie cycle.
Yeah. I can't. What's the lady's name that worked with Liebrecht that does all the studies? She's Jenny. So Jenny Chase did an excellent study on this. Like, what kind of jobs do we want to incentivize? Do we really think everybody wants to be the kind of factory worker that is employed in China in these factories? Or do we want to incentivize folks to have more skilled labor?
she wrote an interesting, she did an interesting interview with Bloomberg New Energy Finance, and Jenny Chase, so she's, a god in this. She basically said, manufacturing solar panels is a really crappy business.
That's right.
And the Chinese, they kind of come and go. Same thing in the U.S. They come, they go. It's just so incentive driven, so many changes. You basically have to redo the factory every 3 or 4 years with new technology.
Yep. I don't want to get you off your talk track.
Oh, this is good. So coming back to it, what are the things that we can do? What are the most effective things we can do? I'm going to skip down to the very bottom.
Yeah.
We are making progress with state-by-state permitting, regulation, interconnection, the solar app. That's terrific. But if we really want to get down to really cheap installed solar, it's eliminating the tariffs, eliminating interconnection requirements, engineering around the technical requirements, and creating a cheap and simple national solar financing, which is a little tricky.
What does that look like?
The Green Bank. Okay. It looks like the Green Bank. But what's happened?
Capitalism.
Yes, you have competition. You have other companies that specialize in their business of providing solar financing, and that kind of they're not supporting those financing tools. So it's tough.
Yeah, I had a good conversation with Ravi Mickelson from Atmos about this. He points out a couple of things that his sort of the gong. Dealer fees and commissions. If we could somehow adjust them, we would get closer to the goal line.
But it's still a very effective business model to drive very fast installations by just having door-to-door people knocking on doors and unfortunately lying, saying they were the utility, and they're trying to make $250,000 to be at the top of the Solar Bro Club.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you heard, I was totally aghast in the interview I did with TJ last week that he said door-to-door is still the #1 way to sell solar.
I'm glad you mentioned that to me. It's a 2.5-hour interview. It took me 3 workout sessions to go through the whole thing. I backed it up to 1 hour, 12 minutes when he started talking about the integrations he did with
Sunder
the Cobalt, Sunder, and the Ambient or something. And fascinating.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea. I'm not door knocking everywhere, but I'll tell you, if you're trying to build a sustainable solar business, it's not by pounding on the door and persuading people to buy something. It's getting them to buy something reasonably that they'll repeat.